Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Opposition gets landslide victory in Belize elections on Thursday last. This story takes the lead in our 987th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 17th November 2020. Details after this important message.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. John Briceño, leader of the PUP, becomes Prime Minister of Belize after his party wins a landslide in Thursday's general elections, 26 seats to the incumbents' 5, with an 80% turnout of the electorate. Details in this News 5 Belize report.
I, John Briceño, do swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to Belize and will uphold the Constitution and the law, and that I will conscientiously, impartially, and to the best of my ability discharge my duties as Prime Minister and do right to all manner of people without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
And with that, Prime Minister John Briceño was officially sworn into office by the Governor General. After 3 terms out of office, the People's United Party has formed the government, crushing the United Democratic Party in Wednesday's elections. PM Briceño made history, becoming the first Prime Minister representing a division outside of Belize City. And as he was sworn in, his supporters gathered inside the Belize House compound in Bamopan. The Orange Rock Central area representative greeted his supporters at the entrance before making his way up the hill with his wife Rosanna and children. His close family and friends were part of the event. Area representatives such as Colonel Hyde, Julius Espat, and Kevin Bernard were present for Briceño's swearing in. And after that was done, Briceño shared his first words as Prime Minister.
I am lost of words as to how I could really and truly express my feelings at this moment. Feeling of gratitude first to our Creator, our God, and also to my family, to my colleagues or candidates or standard bearers, and to the people of Belize. The Governor General said it best, that God speaks through his people, and the Belizean people have spoken yesterday.
And the message was loud and clear. The People's United Party won 26 seats, a landslide victory. The margins were huge. The United Democratic Party won 5 seats, mostly in Belize City.
And as such, we respect the decision of the Belizean people. As of today, we are no longer PUP standard bearers, but we are representatives of the people. We are a government of the people of Belize. And I want to assure everyone that we are going to be an open, accountable, transparent, and accessible government for the people of Belize.
Under Briceño's leadership, the PUP managed to successfully convince the people of Belize in their Everybody for Win slogan and in the plans and goals set out in the party's Plan Belize manifesto. Briceño and the PUP are taking over government during a challenging time. The COVID-19 pandemic has crippled the economy, affecting tens of thousands of Belizeans, and the floods have made the matters worse. But Briceño says he's confident that his party will revive the economy.
It's an awesome feeling, but at the same time, when you feel the burden of the office, it also is very humbling to realize that this nation is depending on myself as Prime Minister and to our colleagues who were elected yesterday as representatives. So I think it will take some time to sink in. But right now, we are happy, we're elated, we are humbled by the confidence that the Belizean people have given us.
Reporting for News 5, Hipólito Novello.
It seems like it will be a two-way race for the leadership of the United National Congress's internal elections due in 3 weeks' time in Trinidad and Tobago. On Sunday was the party's nomination day, where 3 prospective candidates were expected to file nomination papers. However, one of them said, due to irregularities, he did not submit his name. Here is TV6's reporter Cindy Raghubatika Singh with more.
In the lead up to today's nomination day for the UNC's internal election scheduled for December 6th, 3 names surfaced for the leadership race. Incumbent political leader Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the former UNC ministers Vasant Bharat and Devant Maharaj. But at the party's Couva head office on Sunday, only 2 submitted nomination papers. The opposition leader who sent an agent to file on her behalf, and the second was Mr. Bharat. Mr. Maharaj said too many irregularities surrounding the election committee's handling of the process prompted his move.
This conduct of this election is obscene and vulgar, and while I'm very much interested in contesting the position, I will not subject myself at this point to be part of a fraudulent process, unless of course guided otherwise by my attorney.
But you have filed nomination.
You have filed?
No, you haven't.
By 4 p.m. when nomination closed, he did not file his form, which should mean he's now out of the race.
This is not a village susu run by the Pala Rum Shop. It is a political party that aspires to be the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and it should hold itself accountable to the highest standard. The very same standards that the UNC under Mrs. Persad-Bissessar demanded of the EBC seems to have gone out the window when it comes to the UNC's own internal election.
Meanwhile, Mr. Bharat, after successfully filing, said he is confident of his chances as he believes the membership is fed up of national losses under the current management.
We have fragmented and disunited this party with anyone who has an opposing view or voice of opinion to the political directorate is seen to be persona non grata. As a direct result, we have separated the party from people who have value to add, and the base of the party have to realize they are now voting for future generations. This is not about themselves. This is not about who they love currently. This is not about loyalty today. This is about loyalty to your grandchildren, to your children, and to the country as a whole.
Bharat says he has a full slate of people ready to contest all the positions and is prepared to rebuild the UNC from the ground up if successful at the polls, while Mrs. Persad-Bissessar will continue on as opposition leader, handling parliamentary business. Cindy Raghubatika Singh, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
As the number of COVID-19 cases within the prison walls of Trinidad and Tobago reached 68, Prisons Commissioner Dennis Polchan is once again calling for urgent intervention to reduce the prison population. Renessa Cutting of TV6 News reports.
If I get a reduction by 1, I'm happy, but if I get a reduction by probably 30%, it can become manageable.
The prison population numbers roughly 3,800 inmates, with 3 to 5 inmates housed in one cell in most instances.
The maximum was designed for 3 inmates in a cell with 3 beds. So I'm saying that once you can safely accommodate 3 inmates in a cell, that would be great. But the design of a prison, it is not one that will easily resist the virus of this nature.
Thus far, 68 prisoners have been confirmed with COVID-19, but the Commissioner says the situation appears to be under control.
The symptoms I'm seeing is a general cold-like symptoms, little sniffles and that kind of thing, but we have no severe cases as yet. But I have separate area which I have them in, and it's inaccessible to a lot of other traffic. So they are all separate and, safe.
The Commissioner says officers have expressed concern about the situation.
There were 15 officers who would have worked among those inmates. So as a precautionary measure, I send them for testing. and quarantine just to ensure that they have not been contaminated with the viruses yet.
Okay, so as of right now, you have no officers.
I have no results. I have no results as yet from these officers.
He's hoping this latest development inspires the powers that be to make the necessary moves to reduce the prison population.
For years, we have been speaking of non-custodial sentences and early release, and we have been talking of parole. I'm talking about reducing the prison's population to home parole and electronic monitoring. All these are options available to the judiciary that can easily help us to reduce our prison population to a manageable amount. I wish someone in some place will have some consideration in that idea.
Attempts to get a response from the Attorney General were unsuccessful. Renessa Cutting, TV6 News.
In the meantime, it was Baywatch at Maracas Bay on Sunday, not starring David Hasselhoff, but Trinidad and Tobago's very own police commissioner. Commissioner Griffith hit the beach on Sunday to enforce the public health regulations, where he also issued a warning to people selling and consuming alcohol in public spaces. Renessa Cutting again has more.
The commissioner was on the beach today following reports of beachgoers frolicking on the beaches without masks since the lifting of restrictions. But today, not a ticket was issued.
The beach is a very technical situation because at times the persons out there in the water, you're not supposed to wear the mask, you don't have to wear it. When you're out of the water, you're wading in the water without like a few inches. Do you put any mask or not? Persons will be taking a drink, they put it down, they forgot. But by and large, it has shown a great degree of responsibility and maturity, and that is what we want.
There was an increased police presence along the Maracas stretch today, 2 weeks after the latest lifting of restrictions.
This will not be a one-off. It will not be a COVID response. It will be an ongoing exercise on the North Coast because we recognize that we have some problems with traffic and other issues. So it will be ongoing on weekends, concentrated public holidays.
On Friday, a number of persons were upset after being ticketed on the avenue while eating and drinking. But the commissioner says it's not a case of discrimination.
If persons look at the latest legal notice that was submitted, you look at para 4H and I, it states specifically that alcohol is not to be consumed in the premises of the bar or the precincts of the bar. It is straightforward. It is there. Likewise, if you recall my action, when there were situations with hundreds of persons lined up outside, I stated that if that continues, the persons who are in there, the owners, they will accept responsibility. I will not give them a ticket, but I will shut them down because I have that authority.
The commissioner says too many persons are only seeking their interests.
Don't shut down DSS, but go after the Chinese gambling. Do not affect me because I want to stay at Maracas and drink and not wear my mask, but deal with persons who are playing sports. Persons who are playing sports are saying, let me play my sport, don't let it affect me, deal with the people who are drinking alcohol. It cannot be that.
The Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, says it will bring together experts to discuss the state of financial inclusion as a result of the health emergency caused by the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic in Latin America and the Caribbean. The IDB said, together with IDB Invest, the private arm of the IDB Group, it will host the IDB Lab on November 16th, as financial inclusion is called to play a fundamental role in the response to the Latin American and Caribbean countries to the COVID-19 crisis. The 2-hour event, beginning at 10 a.m., will take place virtually and is organized in 3 sessions. It will address, to begin with, the effectiveness of response tools and mechanisms activated to support vulnerable populations, mainly the role played by payments, remote banking, and digital infrastructure. This first session will also include the global launch of the 2020 edition of the Global Microscope on Financial Inclusion, conducted annually by the Economist Intelligence Unit with the support of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Center for Financial Inclusion, IDB Invest, and the IDB Lab.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.